Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Gary A. Swaby, and you're now watching the Snowfall Aftermath. And today we will be recapping Snowfall Season 5, Episode 4, and the name of the episode was Revolutions. And I'm here with Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. How are you doing, Richard?
Doing good, Gary. What's up, listeners and viewers?
What's up, indeed? And yeah, so we have a very interesting episode of Snowfall here to recap. Um, some pretty major things happened, and also we saw the trailer for the next episode. So we got some stuff to talk about today. And we're going to begin with our takeaway segment, in which both me and Rich are going to take turns and just like highlight some of the things that stood out to us, and then later on, we'll have like more of a back and forth dialogue in our questions and discussions segment. But before we start that, I just want to remind you all, if you enjoy the content, please hit the like button. I think we saw that like last week there was a lot of comments, but people aren't like leaving comments. I mean, liking the
I
video. Sorry. So please do like that video. It's very important for us to keep going. Go ahead, Rich. You wanted to chime in.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment and say I know we have a lot of people that they do not like Power Force, or they think that it is a weaker show than the regular Power, but yet we get a lot of likes on that Power show. So if you are a Snowfall fan, I definitely think you should support the show because I think it's a really good show right now. Obviously, I like all the shows. I'm always entertained, but Snowfall I especially enjoy. So if you do like these discussions, please do like and comment. We love the engagement. So I just want to encourage you all to do that because again, as Gary always says, it's free to like a video. It's free to leave a comment. You're not being charged anything for any of this stuff. So please do consider that.
Yep. You can like this video for the special price of $3.99. Free, free, man. So so yeah, go ahead and do that. That keeps us going. It helps us like know what people like hearing from us, and it just boosts us in the algorithm. So please do that. If you do enjoy these discussions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, so we're gonna get right into our takeaway segment now. And this week it is my turn to go first. So yeah, let me begin here. So first of all, I just want to say like I kind of like the fact that they're highlighting like that they're showing the harassment of the LAPD, because this is something that was well documented, both in the past, and actually it still happens today. Like the LAPD have been known to be like very aggressive to black communities, and everything like that. And I know that this show is about drug dealers, so they're doing illegal activity, but the LAPD legit operates like a gang. Like LA has gang culture, and it's like people actually they actually refer to the LAPD as another gang in that city, because they're so aggressive with how they target the black community and stuff, and they even harass innocent people. They hurt and harass and beat up and initiate violence against innocent people who aren't involved in the drug life. So I like that they're kind of showing that, because there were some very well documented cases in the past of LAPD harassing black communities, and that seems to be a theme that they're kind of showing up here. And it seems now that they've kind of put this crooked cop character, he's kind of like the face of that now in this season, as we see that he's kind of he kind of was in charge of that whole operation to hit Leon's hood, his crew and everything. um and then Louis kind of had a conversation with him about that later on, to tell him to calm down, like I'm gonna do what you said, but just give me some time. And he seems like he's not interested. He doesn't want to hear anything she's saying. Like basically he says he's going to keep harassing them until she gives him something, until she gives up somebody, like, so she's got a snitch basically to calm him down. So he's putting a lot of pressure on Louis. And this is like a very critical time, to put that pressure on her when we see in this episode there's a lot going on with Franklin and the family and everything. So it makes me wonder, what position she's going to go in with that, who she might give up. Um, it seems like Scully would be an easy target because he's not family, he's not blood, but like, with given what's happening in the story at the moment, it's like, there's so many ways it could go with that, I think. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I just like that whole spin on the LAPD and how they implemented that, because it's very true to what was happening and also what still happens in LA. So that was cool. Um, and then also, Sissy returned in this episode and she kind of shook things up a lot. like some like as soon as she kind of came back, and because it was when Franklin was with Jerome and Louis, and his girl was there and everything, and Leon, and they were kind of talking about the whole cop situation. And then Sissy just turns up, and Franklin was then forced to kind of give up the news that Veronique is pregnant in front of everyone. So it's like as soon as she gets back, there's a lot of truths that are coming to light. A lot of like stuff got shook up. Like, so now everyone knows that Veronique is pregnant and Franklin's having a baby. So that's gonna kind of add to things. And then, there was the scene at the dinner table. And this didn't turn out like the Power Book 2 Ghost dinner scene that that we loved so much, but it was a pretty intense scene just because you could feel the energy between Franklin and Louis was off. Like Louis was sitting all the way across the table, from Franklin. She wasn't even sitting next to Jerome. Like she was just like separated from everything. And then Sissy picked up on the energy between the two characters, and stuff like that is great about the show because it's like even before Sissy said that, you could see it, like you could see that tension, before she even said it. So I kind of like that. Like you could really sense that tension between Louis and Franklin was there. But yeah, she picked up on that. And then this kind of led to the discussion, it kind of forced Franklin to, say that Teddy was back, basically. He admitted to the fact that Teddy was back. And also in this scene, Sissy kind of she makes like the bold claim that Teddy actually killed Alton. Like he this is like the first time she's kind of saying it in front of everyone. Like he killed Alton. Like he's responsible. And then of course Franklin was then led to say that Teddy is back. And then that shakes things up a lot. Also, so yeah, a lot of things being shook up by Sissy's return. But then also throughout the rest of the episode, we see that she's kind of open to Franklin's lifestyle, even though she knows what he's doing. She knows that he's involved in the drugs and the whole distribution and everything, but she's open to being involved with the lifestyle and helping him out and stuff. And it makes you wonder, why is she all of a sudden so open to this, like to the point where it seems like she might even come with him on drops and stuff like that. And then of course we I guess we kind of see that it's because she wants to protect him. She wants to make sure he is protected at all times because she knows how dangerous Teddy is now, and Teddy is like the biggest threat to the whole situation. So I guess this is her way of she understands that Franklin's at a position where he's not just going to walk away. Like he's not just going to up and walk away tomorrow because there's too much at stake. Like if he just up and leaves, like there's going to be so much chaos just by him leaving, and a lot of people will be left to pick up the pieces. So she knows that he's not going to turn away from the lifestyle. He's not going to walk away now. So I think she's just at a point where she's willing to accept it and work with him to try and protect him. And then, we have the scene at the end where, this mysterious guy comes in the diner, and she's talking to him, and she just casually, starts mentioning, "Oh, I want my family protected no matter what happens," and then yeah, then you can go ahead and kill Teddy. So she's, I guess she's kind of organizing something. I'm not sure what organization this guy is with. I'm sure the people might have some theories on that. Maybe Richard has some theories on that, but this guy seems like he's connected, and he knows Teddy. He knows he's with the CIA. So I'm wondering what kind of organization that this guy is with, and what resources they have access to that can help them, pull such a bold move and take down Teddy. So yeah, it seems like Sissy has come with an agenda. She's come with a plan and an agenda and a motive. And she also wants to protect Franklin and, I guess, the new generation, which is Veronique, like the child that they have together. So yeah, she's on a mission, I guess. But yeah, it was cool to see her back. Her scene with Leon was pretty cool. Just the fact, she, that kind of plays into the name, the revolution. Like, she basically told him, you don't have to, you don't have to go down the violent path to make a change. There's other ways to make change. You don't have to fight. But then, at the end of the episode, she goes and says she wants Teddy dead. So I mean, she kind of went back on that. She flipped on that a little bit, but still, it was a great scene with Leon. Um, and then yeah, like another scene I liked was with Jerome. So we see earlier in the episode, there's that rapper, I guess, like, and he's spitting bars about all the people involved in the drug crew, the drug organization and stuff, like Franklin and Manboy and all this stuff. Like, he's making all these references, and this is something that happens in real life too. And if you're familiar with 50 Cent's story, he actually kind of did something similar back in the day too. Like, he had it was a really great song, by the way, called Ghetto Quran, where he was paying homage to a lot of like people from his hood, like from Queens, New York and stuff. But and everybody actually loved it. Even the people he named, like, they liked the song. And I think a lot of the stuff he referenced was past the statute of limitations anyway. So he didn't really incriminate anyone, but there were some people who didn't like, that he mentioned them. And yeah, that's a whole rabbit hole you can go down yourself. You can see what happened there, but yeah, like, this is a very real thing that happens with rappers, like referencing stuff that they've seen in their lifetime, and referencing actual crimes and things that have happened in their communities. So yeah, and this was around the time where rap and hip hop was actually starting to really grow and evolve, and you were starting to get that gangster rap element a little bit. So yeah, that was cool to see as well. But what was cool about Jerome was, he recognizes that it's a threat, that this rapper is out there, dishing up all the dirt and basically incriminating them. Like, because if somebody were to listen to this, they would have the whole history of the crimes that they did or whatever. So he recognizes the threat. But then later on in the episode, he's kind of listening to these tapes, and there's a line that kind of hits him. It hits home with him, and it's like something like the uncle to the nephew. He has eyes, but he doesn't see. And he actually stops the tape. He rewinds it first and then plays it again, and then he hears it and stops it. And we see that he's drinking, and there's actually like a tear coming down his eye. And like, I think in that moment it just kind of hit him that maybe I should have did more to kind of steer Franklin in a different direction, because now this is getting out of hand. I can't control him anymore. Like, this has gone far beyond what I can control. So I think he had like a real kind of moment of realization there, and just the fact that there was this rapper, this poet that highlighted that it came from somebody else, like who's from the outside looking in. I think that just kind of, it gave him an understanding of how people are looking at him, in the situation, I guess. So I think that was cool. And scenes like that are really good in Snowfall because it's like, it's not explained to you what's happening in the scene, but you can just kind of understand it through the acting and the actions of the characters. So I really love that subtlety, that they go with. But yeah, those are the takeaways I have. Looking forward to hearing what Richard has, for this episode. So go ahead and take it away, Rich.
Okay, first and foremost, we have to say those were some outstanding takeaways, Gary. I agree with a lot of things that you said, but I'm just going to say a few additional things. So let's go right where you started with when you talked about the scene with Jerome. The way you described that is exactly what I got out of the scene as well. The rapper's name, I believe the kid's name is Maurice. And earlier in the episode, when they first heard that song, that's when they wanted to confront him about it and get the tapes. And then, of course, when they revisited it later, that is the feeling that Jerome felt. But also, I think it was meant to show you that people are very aware of what Franklin and his family have been doing. And if that rapper knows and recorded this music, you got to imagine there are several other people that know and are probably going to have some type of retaliation in the future because of this stuff. But I thought that was a great, powerful scene. Pretty much, I thought the episode as a whole was fantastic. I was glad to finally see Sissy come back, and of course, when the episode started, she came back into her old house, which is, we know that now Wanda's living there. Wanda wasn't there at the time. She didn't know that Sissy was going to come back because Sissy just came back out of nowhere. Obviously, after she heard about the baby, that's when I believe she came back, but also because she wanted to have a plan to basically take out Teddy. At least that's what we know. Yeah, and then when they had the whole dinner scene, and her making mention of the fact that that Teddy is the one. We all know what happened. We all know that Teddy killed Alton, and that Franklin still wants to play coy and say, you know what? No, maybe somebody else could have got to Alton. But I'm pretty sure Franklin knows. And I think as the episodes continue, he'll finally come to that realization. One thing that Sissy did say at the end of the episode to this other guy is that she did say she wants the family protected, but she also said, I want to know what happened. And then she says, yes, then we can talk about you guys killing Teddy. So what we do know is that eventually something is going to happen to Teddy this season, because in that season trailer, you saw him on the ground screaming, yelling, like he got shot or he got attacked. So we know for sure something is going to happen to Teddy this season. It's just a matter of whether or not that's connected or it's something else, which we'll get into later. But overall, you also mentioned the great points about how they showed this, the raids happening in the projects, orchestrated by Crash, the organization, and of course the cop Buckley, who is the one that is behind all of this. And we know that he told Louie several episodes. He's been telling her, my boss needs somebody to take in. And obviously Louie has not really reacted to that. So because of that, he's continuing to take matters into his own hands. And then he does have a conversation with Louie in this episode saying that, yes, you can continue, you keep giving me access to cocaine, you give me access to different types of women. You think that you can control me, but no, you cannot control me. So he's basically trying to let her know, hey, you still going to have to give me what I asked for. So I'm very curious to see who it is that eventually they're going to have to give up. The tension you mentioned that Louie and Franklin had at the dinner table, very interesting, very good acting, but it shows you that, yes, clearly that last conversation they had in the previous episode is impacting them both. And of course, everything has to do with Teddy. The fact that Teddy is back and he has exposed some stuff with how Franklin runs the organization, but he also is back and causing all types of drama and issues with the actual family itself. So they have to watch out for that. But to get back to the Crash thing, one of the scenes that I love about this episode is the conversation that Franklin had with his with hold on one second. Okay, sorry for the dramatic pause. The conversation that Franklin had with Leon, when basically Leon is talking about, like, he basically was telling Leon, hey, I want you to come to this dinner that I'm throwing for my mom. And Leon is very clear about what he says, basically saying, listen, I can't do that. I can't sit here and pretend that the drugs have not destroyed this community. I need to be here for my people. And I think that that's an excellent development for the character, because we know last season what happened to that character. The fact that he was involved in what happened to Manboy's his sister and his niece, and how he felt bad about all of that. And then what happened with Fatback and his, you know, all of that stuff. So what I like about the show is that it's showing you that every character is very aware of the damage that the cocaine has caused their community. There are some that are aware of it, but yet they decide not to really address it, like Franklin. We saw in previous seasons, Franklin had to deal with a lot of people he knows getting caught up in this, including Melody, who was hooked on the product, who was hooked on cocaine. So that's why I say I'm glad to see that Leon is coming to that realization that what they're doing is not good, and that he wants to try to do what he can to support his people and try to use the money that they're making to better the community. That was just a great dialogue, how he delivered it, everything. And I think it's very important, because I feel that is a topic that is still very relevant today in the world today. There are a lot of people in positions of power. They get a lot of money, and then they don't do anything beneficial with that money. And they definitely don't do anything beneficial to help the community or help others that need the money. So I think that was a very important message to put that in there for that reason, because it's still very much relevant in the world we live in today. So I have to give them props for that. So a few other quick things that I will mention, because I think, like I said, you said a lot of things that I was going to say, so I don't really have too many additional things to say, but there are a few points I do want to make about the episode that I did notice. So we know that they did not really address Peaches in this episode. I know we've been saying, every episode, the character's been saying he's sick. However, there was a very interesting comment made in that final conversation between Verone and Franklin in this episode. In that interesting comment that she made about the fact that, I don't really feel as though we are entirely safe. You have this army vet going around with the strippers, and you think that that's enough protection. I don't really know whether or not to read too much into that, because I know we said that the character could have AIDS. He could be HIV positive. We don't know yet. But mentioning that he's around the strippers, and then you saw earlier in the episode they were playing spades or whatever. They was at a table just relaxing, and then they then when he saw Franklin and come in, he stopped doing what he was doing. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say about Peaches. What that conversation did reveal, though, is that she does not feel safe, and she saw that Franklin had a gun as well, and she was saying, so basically she's saying that you need to get better protection. So I do think Franklin is going to eventually bring in somebody else. I don't know what's going to happen with Peaches, because in the trailer that they showed for the season, when Franklin had that conversation with Teddy, and they were talking back and forth, and Teddy was saying, I'm your protection. There was a white guy standing in back of Franklin, so I'm assuming that guy is his new security. So we'll have to see how that plays out as far as the storyline is concerned. We do know it's going to be very chaotic in the next episode, so something might happen to Peaches. Either something happens to Peaches, or he takes time off because he's still sick, but we'll find out. But the final point that I do want to make, and this is again about Verone. I don't know if people noticed this, but prior to this episode, we have not seen Verone actually talk and engage in business with Franklin and his family at the same time. Yes, they did have a scene in the second episode when they approached Louis and Jerome about this real estate venture, which is good and which is good and all. However, when things got messed up at the projects and Franklin had to go and talk to the family, she said, "Oh, I want to come with you." And I thought it was very interesting that you would have her come and observe what's happening in that conversation. Also think it's interesting that Sissy also wants to be in the loop on everything. So some of the stuff is going to be definitely suspicious to, I think it should be to viewers, because I know people already question the Verone character and they don't trust the character. But that especially stood out to me because it's like, I understand she is your woman, she's having your child, so you obviously need to have her involved in some capacity. But I kind of feel like the way she was looking and reacting to Franklin from the moment that he said Teddy is back until now, very suspicious. And the fact that his mom comes back out of nowhere and she all wants to go after Teddy. I don't really know how Franklin's going to respond to that. I don't know if he would be suspicious. I don't know if he would be suspicious of his mom right now in the fact that she's talking to somebody, but I do think at some point he's going to definitely become aware of that. So we'll see what happens. But overall, I thought it was a great episode. There was a lot of attention, a lot of conversation about revolutions, basically trying to make you think about how things were at that time and also giving you a great connect to how things are in the world right now, because the communities in the world right now, a lot of people are, separated, not really on the same level, or not really working together as a unit. And I think it's important to show that because it just gives you an idea of how things haven't changed quite as much the way they are in the world today in some cases, but also just to educate you again on why you do not want to get caught up in this game in the first place. So, very good episode.
Oh yeah, excellent takeaways. Definitely well said. Yeah, there's a couple things actually I want to touch on that you said, but well, I guess we'll do it in the discussion segment. But before we get there, friendly reminder. If you want to comment on something we mentioned in our takeaways, please do that. Go ahead and leave your comments. But if you're going to leave a comment, also do please hit the like button. And, you can consider subscribing as well if you like the other content on the channel. We have a review of Batman. We have a spoiler-free version, and we have a full-length spoiler discussion on that movie also. And we also cover Power every week too. So if you watch that TV show, we got a show that we do with that, for that show called the Power Cast, and we do that with Dana Abercrombie, our other co-host. So check out some of the other stuff and consider subscribing also if you're here for the first time. But yeah, do hit that like button and do leave your thoughts in the comments. But so yeah, let's get to questions and discussions here, because I want to kind of respond to something you said. Well, there were two things. So first of all, security. Yeah, they showed Peaches in this episode. We didn't really see much of him being sick still, but that theory could still be a thing, that he is sick. But I do want to say at this point in Franklin's career, he should have like a whole security team at this point. Like, like a kingpin, like a boss like Franklin in his position, like he should have like a Hummer of people following him everywhere he goes. Like just, he should have more than one guy like at his side. So
I agree 100%. The fact that Teddy shows up in episode 2 at Franklin's house, no warning or nothing. Yeah, he absolutely should. There's no excuse not to have protection. But obviously, I understand. You didn't think that Teddy was coming back. You thought everything was cool with Grady, so he was very relaxed. But now, yeah, he should definitely have some better security. I believe.
Yeah. So yeah, he is going to need more than Peaches eventually. So I do think that is going to be tested soon. Whether Peaches is sick, or whether something ends up happening to him, or whether Teddy steps in and gives him his own security or something, like to kind of watch him, maybe. I don't know, but I do think he is going to get some sort of upgrade to his security, or there's going to be some change there, I think. Because yeah, like somebody at his position with the amount of risk that's on him currently, I think yeah, he needs more than Peaches. With all due respect to Peaches, and if Peaches is, if he isn't sick, I mean, he could still be part of the security team, even if Franklin decides to hire more people. He could still be there. But yeah, I just think the way they've been setting this up, I think something is going to happen to Peaches, whether he's sick or something violent, might happen also. Uh, but yeah, I just wanted to add to what you were saying there. You got anything else to say on that?
Oh no, I agree 100%. I think a lot of people have that theory about him being sick, and I think that from a writing standpoint, if he did have AIDS, HIV, we already know that that was a very big deal during that time. A lot of people didn't really know how to deal with it. So it would be important for them to highlight that in the show, but it's not necessary, again. But again, I think that the whole conversation he had with Verone opens up the possibility that yes, Franklin just needs better security. So if that's how they decide they want to address it, that's fine. The only issue though is that Peaches knows a lot of information. So if Peaches was to leave, that will also be a threat to Franklin and everybody else that's involved. Of course, we know Peaches is loyal. He probably wouldn't say anything, but again, we don't know what's up with the character. If the character is sick or if he's getting high or whatever, that's a weakness. So we'll have to see how they address that. But I do believe we're going to get some answers in the next episode because it looks like all hell breaks loose in the next episode. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're gonna get to that. But yeah, so another thing you touched on, and you just mentioned, Veronique as well. Um, so the question I was gonna have was, could Veronique be hiding something, you know? And the reason I say that is just because there has been a lot of conspiracy theorists out there, saying they don't trust her, something's up with her, she's working with the cops or something, but there is the fact that she's pregnant and everything with Franklin's child, so that kind of is like, are you going to set up the father of your child? But it just seems like the way the show is being filmed and presented to us, it seems like she's hiding something, because it's like you get all of these like faces from her and these like expressions, and like she seems like someone who is hiding something. So now after this episode, I'm convinced she probably has some kind of secret. And there is a scene where I think it's the same scene you were talking about, where they're on the couch together and they're talking about security and all that stuff. But she also, I think she mentions her own mother or something, like, because they were talking about Sissy, and she was talking about like if her mother was there, she'd be taking over everything or something like that. I think that's what she was saying, if I'm remembering that correctly. But I'm wondering if that is going to lead to something like, is her mother someone notable, or is that going to be something that comes into play? Because if he's got this girl pregnant, he has to meet her family too at some point, right? So it's like that could be a whole nother element too, because it's like who are her family? Like, are they someone notable, someone significant? Do they have any connections that could threaten Franklin and his team? So there's another element to think about there also. But yeah, what's your thoughts on Veronique? Is she hiding something? Can she be trusted? What do you think?
I believe the show has told us up to this point that Franklin has a very bad track record with these relationships. The women always is some secret that they're keeping, and he finds out about it, usually very late into this entire process. So, do I think that she has a secret she's keeping? Absolutely. This episode, I think, again, it stands out because of the fact that she was with them when they were talking about business, and the fact that they got shut down by the cops. That's a major step forward in terms of that relationship. And it kind of also felt like in that scene when Louis looked at, like, well, hold on, what is she doing here? When they was in there having that discussion. So I kind of feel like that's very important. Now, the other thing is that this is a character that pretty much came out of nowhere. We didn't get a backstory. I had said on the last podcast, on the Breakfast Club interview that Damson had last week, he had a backstory as to what happened with that character. But the thing is, as a viewer, when you watch the show, you just see, oh, this is a new character. I don't know anything about that character. Obviously, there's some mystery behind the character into whether or not what their true motives are. And I understand that's why they did that. But the thing is that they got to know by doing that, people are going to question whether or not that's somebody that can be trusted. So I think after this episode, it's very fair to question what this character's true motivations are. She had said in the last episode that she's going to do whatever she can to make sure that she protects the baby, make sure that the baby is not getting involved in any of this stuff. And obviously she wants Franklin out as well. But she has to have some type of backup plan in the event that Franklin doesn't stop. And I think, to go back to what you said earlier in this podcast, when Jerome was listening to the music about how he could have tried to steer Franklin in a better direction, they've told you Franklin is a monster. You've seen that with each episode that passes, that he's in very deep, and he is sometimes his own worst enemy. So I kind of feel like she has to know, what is your backup plan if Franklin does not ever leave the game. That's why I say there definitely has to be more to the character than just that. They also made a mention in this episode about the fact that they called off a wedding. They were going to hold off on a wedding right now and just focus on the baby. Yet there is a wedding that is happening later this season. I don't know if that's Jerome and Louis, or if it's if it is those two. But there is a wedding happening later in this season, because we saw that in the season trailer. So I just think it's a lot of stuff that's happening right now on the show. So the character, you definitely have to question what her motives are. But I definitely think now I don't trust the character until I find out what the ultimate goal is of that character. We'll see. And the last point that I will add is that, again, let's go back to episode 2. After all the stuff that happened with Grady, episode 3, actually. After all that stuff happened with Grady, this is somebody who also used to work for Grady as well. So the fact that Franklin just casually tells her, hey, I need you to put his house on the market. He's going to be gone for a while. And yet she has had no conversation, no interaction with Grady since then. You don't think she's going to be suspicious something happened to Grady? She knows about Teddy because Franklin told her about Teddy and how Teddy is bad. He's done a lot of bad things, and he's bad to be working with. So I kind of feel like now that he's back, you have to have some type of contingency plan. And I did see that some people were saying, when they had the scene in this episode with Wanda, when she was there inside, in the office with Verone and Franklin, etc., and then you saw that Sissy walked in. That Wanda looked at, she left like very, she left real fast, as if she is also suspicious of something, whether it be Sissy or Veronique. So that's why I said I'm curious to see how this plays out. But right now I don't trust the character. I understand why people feel the way they do, and I want to see exactly what it is that's going to be revealed, because we already know Franklin's track record. Something's probably up with her, so we'll have to see what that actually is.
Oh yeah, for real. And yeah, like, you're right. Like, that is a major step. The fact that she accompanied him to that meeting where they're talking about street stuff, like, so that is a major thing. And it's like, it's like, if she's a normal person, she shouldn't be that okay with it. It seems like she would have something to say about these things that are happening in Franklin's life. Like, if she really is just a normal person. Otherwise, she's like a psychopath or something. Because it's like, who is just like, let's say you, Rich, you get with some lady, right? And then all of a sudden she opens your eyes to this whole other lifestyle that she lives, where she's selling drugs, she's in a trap house and all this stuff. Like, with the, like, it's not, you're not gonna like ease into it that smoothly. I think like
Yeah,
there's got to be something else going on there with her. Like she just seems too calm about everything. Like even like the Grady situation that you mentioned.
hmm
She seems just a little too calm about things. Like and there are people out there who might be like, oh, you're into drugs, okay, and just go along with it, I guess. But I don't know, something just isn't right about her. Like she just seems like that she's hiding something. So yeah.
I agree. I agree. One final point I do want to make also is I know there are a lot of people asking what is going on with Melody. Is she coming back to the show? She actually just got assigned to another show. Uh,
Oh,
she's
okay.
going to be on another show, and I think that the news broke the other day about that. So I don't know because again, this was already filmed, so I don't know if she did any filming for this season of Snowfall. I have no idea if she's coming back, but we'll have to wait and see. But I think again, the curse here is that because of what Franklin did to her father and how everything broke out between them, I don't know if Franklin will ever find true happiness. And you may see that manifest itself in this relationship where something is revealed about this character also and
Mm.
things don't work out the way that he intended. So we'll have to wait and see. But I definitely feel after she heard about Teddy coming back, she definitely has to have some type of backup plan. There's no way you just completely trust that Franklin is going to leave the game and that you're completely safe. So I'm curious to see what that backup plan is and what her real motives are, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And you never know. I mean, Melody and Alton, they could be unlockable characters for this season. They might have a secret appearance later on. They can still show up, I guess.
Well, yeah, maybe, definitely, definitely.
But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But so moving on here. So let's talk about Teddy, right? So we see we kind of get a glimpse of what Sissy's motive is with coming back and trying to protect Franklin, and I guess getting revenge for whatever's happened to Alton. So I want to ask, how would Teddy react? Like, first of all, how will he react once he knows Sissy is back around, because he doesn't know that yet, I don't think. And then secondly, if he catches wind of her being back, he might decide to follow her or see what she's up to. And then, what will happen if he finds out she's talking to this other guy about, whatever the plan is there. So,
Mhm.
how's Teddy gonna react once he knows that Sissy is back? Like, what do you think about that?
So I'm glad you mentioned this because it is very very ironic point that was made in this episode after Franklin has a conversation with everybody. He basically does meet up with Teddy and tells him about all the stuff that's happening, that they're having issues with Crash, and he asks Teddy for help. Can you do something? Can you help me out? I'm out here selling your product. Can you help me out, help my people out? And Teddy says no, he can't do that. He's not able to do that because he doesn't have that reach anymore. But then he says, because Franklin says, well, I'm worried that I'm a target, and I'm worried about, what's going on with me. And then he tells Franklin, no, I think you should just focus on your family. Just focus on taking care of your family, which I think is very ironic because if he killed Alton and knowing that Sissy is back, that's going to create a lot of tension, a lot of issues. Now, to answer the question, I think when he finds out that Sissy is back, he might be a little concerned. But we know that Teddy is a character that is very obsessive and he does a lot of spying. He could very well already know that she's back, but he does not know what she's doing as far as trying to take him down. He doesn't know that yet. Um, but the thing is, once he finds out, I think he is going to be a little concerned to know that she's back because then he's going to feel like, well, maybe she might get into Franklin's head and tell him, oh, something did happen to Alton and I'm responsible for that. That's why I said they haven't had an interaction yet, but I feel like that's coming. Once he finds out about that, it's going to cause a lot of issues. And then again, once Sissy's plan continues to work its course, And there is a hit that is once the people are basically going to take out Teddy or attempt to take out Teddy, then then this is when things have spiraled out of control. And now at that point, you basically are somebody that would have to go after Sissy. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to play out. It's a hell of a lot of attention, a lot of attention to the situation. So we'll have to see what happens next. But when he finds out, all hell will break loose, I believe. But he might already know some information about her being back, but he definitely does not know what she's doing though while she's back so far. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, you're right about that. Like Teddy seems like the kind of guy who might already know she's there. Like in the next episode, he might casually like say to Franklin, "Oh, how's your mom?" Like I know she's back now. Like so. But yeah, it's just the case of when he finds out that she's up to something, like that's gonna open up a whole another can of worms right there. Like when he finds that out, and it won't take much for him to find that out because we know he's like a master of sneaking and spying on people and stuff. So it would be very easy for him to figure out that Sissy is kind of planning something, and then at that point, Sissy's life might be in danger. So yeah, things can get real intense very quickly with this whole situation with Sissy being back in the mix. But it seems like Sissy's playing it cool. She's putting on like this happy act with everyone and making it seem like she cares about Franklin and the baby, and she wants everyone to be safe. Like she's putting on this real happy-go-lucky act. But there is there's something darker underneath. She really does want revenge. She really does want change. So I don't think she's going to stop seeking that out. And yeah, so with that in mind, it's definitely there's definitely some tension coming very soon. Like, and I'm wondering what position it's going to put Franklin in, because you have Sissy wanting to go after Teddy, and then you have Teddy, which Franklin kind of has to, go along with what Teddy wants if he wants to keep his position in the game right now. So it's like he's kind of being caught in the middle of these things. And yeah, I want to see how he reacts to that pressure from both these colliding sides as well, because so far he's been pretty content with the news about Alton. I mean, maybe he was initially upset about it. We didn't see it happen off screen when he first found out. But he seems like his relationship with Alton wasn't that great when he left anyway. So it's like I think in his mind he's thinking Alton almost blew this whole operation up. Like he almost like ruined everything. So I guess he kind of sees Alton as collateral damage. Like, okay, he brought this on himself. So whatever happened to him, okay. But, if there's a situation where Sissy is at risk, like he is going to, then, go like he's going to go crazy at that point if Sissy's life is at risk, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Because he really loves Sissy. Like he really loves his mother. So, and that's what this episode showed us. So yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, and that is what's going to make it a lot more complex. We know that Franklin is going to go through some betrayal this season, but it's more complex of a situation because Sissy is also doing her own job to make sure that she takes out Freddie. She's orchestrating everything so that he's taken out. So it's a tough situation because this is the person that Franklin is working with that is basically continuing to give him product that he can sell. And yet mom is trying to break down everything because of all the stuff that she lost. And I think one of the best things about this episode is that when you saw that opening scene, when she returned, she's reminiscing over everything that how things used to be. You saw Alton, you saw a flashback when Franklin was a kid with Alton there. And then they show all the stuff that happened last season. with Alton basically telling her, yes, this is our way out. This is so that you and I can have a life, all our own and get away from this stuff. So she said she lost everything because of this. She lost her family, definitely lost her husband, lost Alton, and lost her son to an extent because he is 100% invested in this business. So it's going to be a tough decision, but I look forward to seeing how it's going to happen, how it's going to go down, because I don't think it's going to just go down the way you think it's going to go down. It might go down a completely different way, but I'm looking forward to it as the story continues for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Same here. And yeah, once again, people chime in the comments. Let us know your thoughts on these topics too. But yeah, just one more question. We actually watched the trailer. I watched it right before we started recording. For the next episode, and it looks very explosive, very action packed.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like someone is coming for Franklin and the crew. And we don't actually see who. So I want to ask you, Rich. First of all, like, what was there anything important? Because I think you've seen the trailer more than I have, but was there anything important at all that we should note from this trailer? And also, like, what do you think is happening here? Like, who is coming after them?
Well, that's a great question. It's hard to tell in that trailer. If you go based off of this previous episode, I mean, that Sissy basically, when she has the conversation with this other guy, she tells her that I want the family to be safe. They obviously their goal is to go after Teddy, but I have no idea if they also are going to try to go after the family, because what Franklin has been doing, it has torn apart the community. All of his family is involved in it, so it's kind of hard to tell. And I know I've seen a lot of movies and shows where somebody has a deal and then they decide to, take it upon themselves to go beyond that deal and take out the other people that are also involved in that as well. So I have no idea. Now, what I can say is that we know up until this point, they kept mentioning the Colombians are the competition. So my assumption is that you may see them get introduced in the next episode as them trying to take out Franklin and the crew. That's very possible, because they mentioned them multiple times as the Colombians, and they're trying to cut the price so that they can remain in competition with them. So that's a possibility. Outside of them, though, I have no idea, because the other people that were a part of Scully is on good terms with Louis and Jerome, so he's not coming after them. And he also killed the other guy who was a part of his organization that was going to try to turn on him. So I have no idea who these people are that will be coming after all of them. But we'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, yeah, like in the trailer, it looked. I mean, the people are wearing like bandanas and stuff. But it looks like it could be, it looks like,
like another gang or something.
Yeah, it could be like a Mexican gang or something like that. But it would make sense if it was the Colombians, though, because I mean they've been teased. We know that there is going to be some connection there, and this was around the time where the Colombian cartel they were basically running like the drug game. So it's like, if you're stepping on their toes in some way, that is going to be detrimental. This was the era of Pablo Escobar. So I mean, the Colombians, they were very deep in the drug game. So it would make sense for them to kind of show up and maybe have some gripes with what's going on. And what I really want to know is what Teddy's position is going to be when all of this goes down, because if there's some sort of for like some outer external force that comes in and starts creating all this violence and this carnage in Franklin's operation, that reflects poorly on him too, because he's supposed to be overseeing this, and he can't have a war breaking out in the streets, because that reflects poorly on what he's doing and his work with the CIA. And he's already been kind of warned and disciplined. So it's like, you know, he can't let this situation get too out of hand. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. But I also will add, though, I kind of feel like Teddy is his own man this season, and he's operating on his own. Like, he does have the CIA guy, that the boss that he has been getting intel from, and so on and so forth, and helped him get back in. But I kind of feel like he's just operating completely on his own now. Because we haven't seen him interact with anyone else. You rarely seen him in any of these episodes. If you have, it's because he was interacting with Franklin and Gustavo. So that's why I'm questioning as to what is going on with him. But that's a great point you mentioned, because again, we saw in this episode Franklin was asking for protection because he was concerned about what was happening with the police. And you saw he said, "Oh, I can't do anything." And your father is to blame for that, because all the information he said about me, that messed up my position and what I could do. So it's a great question for him to ask. Now he is going to have to be forced to do something. Also, one other quick thing I want to add is that in that trailer, when Franklin they had a quick scene of him talking to Gustavo, saying that his family is under attack, and they looked like they were hiding somewhere, like underneath somewhere. So that's why I said a lot of attention, a lot of tension, a lot of action next week. That's what it looks like so far in the trailer.
Yeah, and I wonder if Gustavo will help out. Because we've seen him, we've seen him in action a lot. So.
And you know what? To answer that, we did see in that season trailer, he also was getting tortured. So it looks to me like whatever's happening, it's going to impact all three of these characters.
Yeah.
If I had to make a guess, because they're all connected anyway. So if they're coming after Franklin, they also need to go after Teddy, and they need to go after Gustavo as well. So.
Oh yeah, yeah, and we also see Veronique. There's a shot of her looking very vulnerable. She's under attack, and of course that's gonna impact Franklin heavy to know that his pregnant woman is is at risk and stuff. So I think we're gonna see a very angry, a very violent Franklin in the next episode. I mean, there's even a point in the trailer where he's kind of in a vulnerable position too. So and I'm sure I'm sure he gets out of that situation, wherever it is. But after that, he's going to be very angry after he gets out of whatever situation that is. So
I just want to throw out a quick little Easter egg for everybody. On the official Snowfall Instagram, they've had they would have images of the various actors and actresses on the show talking about what this season means for them, something that they're very proud about that they've done on the show. When they had Damson Idris, aka Franklin's image up, and they asked him the question of what moment is he most proud of, he said, "What I did this season, episode 8, is my proudest moment that I've ever done on this show."
Oh wow!
So I don't know what that means. We have to wait until episode 8, but I'm looking forward to seeing what that is.
Oh wow, he's gonna backstab someone. the most proudest moments are usually when the character makes a huge turn or makes a huge decision, or I guess it could be like a real heavy showcase of acting. But for that to occur, something drastic has to happen for that to pull that moment of acting out of you. So so something crazy is going to happen, something big, some kind of plot twist or swerve or something. So I can't wait to see what that is.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, maybe that's when we find out what's up with Veronique. Maybe that's the episode where
that might be the episode. Yeah, that might be it.
but yeah, good stuff. This is a really great show, great season. I was a bit skeptical about this season, but so far it's very interesting. It's holding my attention and making me very curious. So shouts to FX and the team behind Snowfall for all that stuff. But was there anything additional you wanted to bring up before we wrap this up?
Oh no, I think it was a excellent episode. Um, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next week. Hard to believe that this was episode 4, I believe, correct? Hard to believe we're almost at the midway point of the season because it's only 10 episodes. So definitely check out the show. If you have FX, it's also on Hulu the day after. Also streaming on Hulu as well. So check out the show. But yeah, and I also agree with you, Gary. I was skeptical because we have had a lot of conversations on this show thinking that, oh, well, this might be the last season. Well, I don't know. It all depends what happens, but it's still, I will still say it does feel like it's coming to an end soon. It may be next season, or we'll have to wait and see. But so far, I'm very much enjoying the show, and I look forward to seeing what happens next.
Yeah, I very much agree. Yeah, I can't wait, and it would be a nice gift if there was another season because I really do love the writing of this show and the acting and everything. Like it's a very top notch show. Um, but yeah, that is going to be it. I just want to give a few quick shout outs to the people who have been engaging real quick. So, shouts to some of the people from last week. There was Jeremiah, Lutumba. There was Inga, INGA 71. Shouts to you. Shouts to JB, and shouts to Tracy G and Death Proof. Yeah, just wanted to shout to the people who are engaging heavy with the content because we love talking about these shows with the people.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Absolutely.
did you have any specific shout outs as well, Richard, that you wanted to make?
Oh no, I also wanted to give them a shout out. We appreciate their continued support and all the great comments. They have a lot of great theories and ideas about things that are happening on the show. So I can't wait to see how they will respond to this episode, and I look forward to seeing how they respond to the rest of the season because it's been a very good season so far. A lot of tension in every episode, so very curious to see how all this comes to a head. But yes, thank you for the continued support, and we enjoy doing the podcast. So we'll definitely look forward to recapping the next episode.
Indeed. And yeah, with that being said, we're going to end this off, but we will be back next week to recap episode 5 of season 5. So look out for us. But enjoy your week. Have a good one, and we'll see you then. Peace.
Peace.